Hey Northview, welcome to week 3 of the Open the Door Life Group experience. Today we're talking about the priority that Christ must have in our lives. As you know, Open the Door is based off a passage in Colossians 4, where Paul teaches the church to pray for new opportunities to witness and to boldly make the most of every opportunity that God provides. It's the climax of a book devoted to recognizing and making practically real the supremacy of Jesus in every aspect of life. The supremacy of Jesus is really showcased from the beginning of this short but powerful book. In fact, Colossians chapter 1, verses 1 through 15 says, about Jesus, the Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him. He's before all things, and in him all things hold together. And he's the head of the body, the church. He's the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the supremacy. For God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him, and through him to reconcile himself to all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross. In just these few verses of Colossians 1 alone, we see that Jesus is before all things, creator of all things, sustainer of all things, restorer of all things. As a reader, just taking this in, just one chapter in, you're forced to ask a really crucial question about your followership of Jesus. And the question is this: is Jesus prominent or preeminent in my life? I believe for many, Jesus is prominent. He's certainly important. He's in the top realm of value. Maybe couldn't imagine life without him. But there's a huge difference between prominent and preeminent. Prominent is about importance. It's defined as important or famous, whereas preeminent is defined as surpassing all others, very distinguished in some way. Ask yourself this: is Jesus before all things in my life? Is he more distinguished than anything else in my life? I think prioritizing the things of God, especially when it comes to our generosity, can be incredibly difficult. In fact, most of us think we're doing it when really we're not. For example, many of us would say, yes, I give to God first. It's the first check that comes out every month. But that's really about sequence, not necessarily about priority. First means priority. First means that your giving actually governs your other financial decisions, not the other way around. For many of us, whether we want to admit it or not, our other financial decisions actually govern our giving. Let's be honest for a second. As you're determining what your open the door commitment is going to be, how many of us are guilty of thinking through our other priorities first and then allowing those priorities to dictate our giving to God? It's very difficult not to let that happen. And sometimes it even seems like it's our only option. But let's think about this possibility. What would it look like for you to take those other priorities off the table for just a second and ask yourself this question: what number, what level of giving do I really feel like God is asking me to have in this open the door season? What number would represent the things that I'm discovering and believing about the character and nature of God? See, gospel-driven generosity is meant to be a transformational act. It's meant to be something that's dynamic, not static. And if your giving isn't changing you, then it's possible that your giving isn't in the place that God wants it to be. Some of us can be incredibly faithful givers, but when it comes to our giving being something that reprioritizes our life, well, that may not always be true of us. See, this open the door journey is not primarily about raising $4.3 million. It really isn't. This open the door journey is about deploying an extremely healthy biblical practice called prioritizing into our lives. Prioritizing the preeminent over the prominent. You might also call it commitment. See this commitment card right here? This is a discipleship tool for us. It's a tool that will cause us to pray about truly putting God first and prioritizing him above all other priorities in our life. This is going to mean something different for every person, because for some of you, it will mean that you'll put a number on this card that you've never dreamed about before. And God is going to change your life through it. No doubt about it. And for others, it's going to mean the largest step of faith that you've ever taken before in your generosity. I know it's going to mean that for Jamie and I. We're excited, but a little bit nervous about our Open the Door commitment. But we know that it's God's call upon our lives to be radically generous towards His mission. We're asking, God's asking, would you join us? Advanced Commitment Night is Wednesday, November 13th. And if you're watching this and it's still before Wednesday, then please don't miss out on this incredible event. It's going to be a historic moment for our church as we celebrate and hear testimonies and pray and commit inside a tent on the very ground our new special space is going to be built on. I want you to hear now from one of our very own right here at Northview, who's been wrestling through this Open the Door season and what their commitment might look like. Listen in to their story.
We are Jenny and Skip Yentis, and we've been attending Northview for 13 years.
We choose to give to Northview because we believe so much in the leadership. It's easy to get excited about what's going on. And you know, it's biblical to give, and we understand that, but we give joyfully. We kind of look at it like it's never a burden, it's kind of an excitement that the church is on the move, and we get to be a part of that, and financially support it.
I feel like God is challenging me at this point with generosity, just from the standpoint that retirement is not that far away, and you think you plan and you hope you plan, and I just think I need to trust that our needs will be taken care of.
We are at a point in life where we are thinking a lot about retirement, but I also have felt through prayer of the last few weeks that it's time to really give sacrificially for this next adventure that the church is looking at embarking on. So I've been challenged by that, and it's been good to be challenged. Northview is an absolute good investment of our time and resources because it's a church now with a mission. We are headed the right direction. We are genuinely committed to finding and helping the lost in our community.
When we give generously, it's for the greater good. We can't keep it all for us. We can't take it with us. So if we can spread it out a little bit, hopefully that will impact others.
It does feel great to be part of something that is so much bigger than yourself.
I am excited to see this project come to fruition. Just a hub for people to come and gather together and hopefully bring their friends. Hopefully this will transition into, hey, come to church, join me for church. I don't know, I just think, gosh, 10 years, what's it gonna look like? I hope it's just way more than I can imagine.
I think that the neat thing is we have this opportunity to really see God at work in a physical way right in front of us. And I think that people are going to be wowed when they see Him start to move. It's going to stretch everybody, I think, a little bit differently. But I think we're going to see some people really step up and we're going to be like, wow. And then I think we're going to start seeing that as we embark on the Open Door project.
I am a nurse at the high school here in town, and I see so many students who are broken, and I'm just hoping that this will be a light for them, a place where they can come and sit and talk, and maybe we can just be a light for those kids. We're going to be able to minister to people who probably wouldn't normally walk through our doors, but perhaps will because of what we can offer to them.
And I think it's going to amaze a lot of people.